Yes. Hare Krishna. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Piname Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So welcome all of you for our regular Tuesday evening class. And so from now onwards, I'm thinking to take particular sections of Srimad Bhagavatam where some relevant topics concerning all of us are discussed. And today we'll discuss about the nature of mind. And I'll show you some wonderful slokas from Bhagavatam which deals with this subject matter. And it will be very relevant for all of us. So, and at the last, I'll give you a very powerful analogy from Bhagavatam itself. What Krishna tells to control this mind and what is the nature of this mind and how to deal with it. A very wonderful example from Bhagavatam. So please stay till end. Don't leave in between if you want to know the solution. So first let us see the problem of mind. So we'll discuss 3 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapter number 6 and verse number 2. So I will just share this sloka with all of you. Yeah. 1 second. Yeah. Can you see this sloka?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So this is 5th canto, chapter number 6, verse number 3. And these 3 consecutive verses will be spoken by, or are spoken by Sukdev Goswami in reference to Rishabdev Maharaj. So when King Rishabdev, he, although being the incarnation of Supreme Side of Godhead, and although being on the topmost level of, you can say, Krishna consciousness, he rejected the process of Gyan and Karma, other things that is mentioned in the last chapter. So King Parikshit is asking that what was the need. Okay, let us just read the translation of first 2 slokas. So I will just read the translation of first 2 verses and then you'll see. Yeah. So King Parikshit asked Sukdev Goswami, my dear Lord, for those who are completely pure in heart, knowledge is attained by the practice of Bhakti Yoga. And attachment for fruitive activities completely burned to ashes. For such people, the powers of mystic yoga automatically arise. They do not cause distress. Why then did Rishabdev neglect them? So Rishabdev, King Rishabdev, who is the celebrated father of Bharat Maharaj, he neglected this mystic yoga process. So then King Parikshit is asking why he was required, because he is already pure. So this yoga process should not affect him. So in relation to this, Sukdev Goswami tells in the next verse, my dear king, you have spoken correctly. However, after capturing animals, a cunning hunter does not put faith in them, for they might run away. Similarly, those who are advanced in spiritual life do not put faith in the mind. Indeed, they always remain vigilant and watch the mind's action. So from this sloka, next 3 verses, Krishna will talk about, Sukdev Goswami will speak about mind's nature, the nature of mind. So let us recite this verse and then we'll discuss further. Tatha cha uttam na kuryat karhi chit satyam. Anybody you can unmute and recite if you want. Na kuryat karhichit satyam
न कुर्यात् कुरुचित् सख्यम्
मनसि हि अनवस्थिते
मनसि हि अनवस्थिते
यद् विस्रम्भाचिराचीर्णम्
यद्विश्रम्भचिरचिरात्
Sambhaktirakshirnam
च स्कन्द तप ऐश्वरम्.
च
Chaskanda
स्कन्द तप
Tapashvaram
ऐश्वरम्.
Yeah, please somebody read the translation and then we'll read purport one by one line and then discuss. Read the translation.
All the learned scholars have given their opinion. The mind is by nature very restless, and one should not make friends with it. If we place full confidence in the mind, it may cheat us at any moment. Even Lord Shiva became agitated upon seeing the Mohini form of Lord Krishna, and Saubri Muni also fell down from the mature stage of yogic perfection.
Yeah. So wait. So here Sukdev Goswami is first declaring that this is the opinion of all the learned scholars. All, everybody have given their opinion that don't make friends with your mind. In the sense that don't trust mind in one sense. And if you place full confidence in it, it may cheat at any moment. So this is a kind of disclaimer to all of us that never ever think, even though we may be very advanced in spiritual life, or we may be thinking that I have conquered my mind and now I have no danger. So then he is giving a alarming alarm to us that don't do that. And then he gives example of just see whom, Lord Shiva and Saubri Muni. So of course, Lord Shiva, needless to say, Vaishnavana Metha Sambhu. And why did he mention here Lord Shiva? Just one second. Why did he mention Lord Shiva here? Because Shiva was very confident. So when Mohini Murti or Krishna took incarnation as Mohini Murti, so Lord Shiva could not see her. And he went to Vishnu and told that I want to see your that form as Mohini Murti. And Lord said that, no, don't see it. It is not good for you. You may become agitated. So then he told, no, it is not possible for me. I can't be agitated by seeing your this form. He like kind of forced Vishnu to show that form. And then there is a whole this pastime how Shiva got agitated. You know that he ran behind Mohini Murti. And second example is Saubri Muni. So one example is overconfidence. Means we can consider it's a part of pastime or Shiva. And the second example, Saubri Muni, is that doesn't matter how far you run away from Maya, or how much you protect yourself, still there is chance that we may get agitated or fall down. So Saubri Muni, he went inside water, and he was thinking that now, out of sight, out of mind. So I am not seeing any other dirty scene or anything. So there is no question of agitation. But then he saw two fishes. They were population of two fishes, and he got so much agitated by seeing that he went and he married 50 daughters of King Mandata. So all his yogic power he utilized to look handsome. Mind was so bewildered. He married 50 daughters. Just imagine. So that's why he's telling, don't think ever that mind, we have conquered our mind. It is not so easy. So now let us read the purport. Prabhupada gives a very beautiful purport. And you can share this. You share so that I can manage it. Yeah, coming. Yeah, it has come. Yes. This is a 563. Anyhow, this has come. So able to see, huh? Yeah, read the purport. Yes. Read the purport, anybody? You're able to see? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. I'll read.
Krishna. Yeah, read.
The first business of one trying to advance in spiritual life is to control the mind and senses. As Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 15.7, Mamevamsha jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manashashtani indriyani prakristani karshati. Although the living entities are part and parcel of Supreme Lord and are therefore in a transcendental position, they are still suffering in this material world and struggling for existence due to the mind and the senses. To get out of this false struggle for existence and become happy in the material world, one has to control the mind and senses and be detached from material conditions. One should never neglect austerities and penances. One should always perform them. Lord Rishabdev personally showed us how to do this in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Wait, we'll continue. We'll continue. Just wait, there's some important points here. So Prabhupada starts with the purport that our struggle in this material world is due to mind and senses. So if somehow or other we can conquer these two things, mind and senses, then we will not struggle or suffer in this material world. And then Prabhupada writes, to get out of this false struggle for existence and become happy in the material world. So he's talking that if you want to be happy in the material world, there is no other option. You have to control mind and senses and be detached from material conditions. And then he tells how to be detached from material conditions by performing austerities and penances. He tells one should never neglect austerities and penances. One should always perform them. So because even Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita 18th chapter that yajna dan tapasya na tyajyam. One should never give up these three things: yajna, dan, tapasya. So yajna means sankirtan yajna or sacrifices, and dan means charity, giving charity, and tapasya is austerity. So these three things he tells pavanani manishina. Even the most advanced person, they perform these activities to get purified. So it is not that if somebody has suppose chanted for 50 years, so they will not chant. You see now still, Hizur Jayapataka Maharaj and other sannyasis, they have spent 50 years in Krishna consciousness, still they are chanting their prescribed rounds. So why they don't give up these things? This Prabhupada writes that one cannot say that, oh, I have perfected chanting, I can stop chanting. No, you cannot do that. You have to keep doing. Now, here we'll discuss some of the things which I want reply from you. What are some of the austerities or penances we tend to neglect in our daily practice of Krishna consciousness? So I want reply from all of you. Think some of the examples which we just tend to neglect in our daily course of practice. We think, chalta hai, kya fark padta hai? Anything you can recall? I have listed some 5-10 points, but let me first hear from all of you. What things you think that we tend to neglect it in the course of our Sagar, our Sagar President morning program? Perfect. First thing was for these also only morning program. That is for morning program. तो चलता है ना अभी इतना साल से कर रहे हैं क्या फर्क पड़ता है एक दिन नहीं उठे तो क्या जाता है अपना है ना ऐसा जनरली माइंड बोलता है ये माइंड बोलता है यस करेक्ट मॉर्निंग what else think of some of the basic Srikant Pawar is telling not regular in japa, hearing and reading, hearing while chanting. You can unmute and speak also. It's not that some lady is in front of you. Don't feel shy. You can show your faces also.
Yes,
You can,
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
yes, Ankush. Pur.
Yes, Prabhuji. I think hearing while chanting we sometimes avoid while chanting, Prabhuji.
What we avoid?
Hearing.
Hearing. Okay. Hearing attentively. Hearing our japa. Correct. Correct. So we just tend to, okay, chalo, जैसे भी हो रहा है हो दो जपा बस हो रहा है जैसे भी हो रहा है. We don't We don't put endeavor to hear nicely holy name. Very correct. Yes. What else? Anything else?
Book reading, bro. Most of time to regularly do book reading, that
Yeah.
becomes like that is actually a tapasya to complete the क्या बोलते हैं, do book reading nicely.
Correct. Correct. Very correct. Very correct. So
And
although
specifically, bro, with सत्वगुण, like reading book is good, but वो सत्वगुण क्या है? Usually हम जब read करते थे तो वो ऐसा रहता है कि खत्म करना है, but सत्वगुण के साथ read करना.
and even though we may read book, but we may read just to finish it and are not contemplating, not thinking about it, and yes. So now I found out that even to read 1 hour book in the mode of goodness, you will have to endeavor for 3 hours at least. So I'm seeing in my daily also that it becomes so difficult to read on continuous even 1 hour because we are in such a passionate mode, management and so many things. If you just sit down and read for continuous 1 hour, it becomes difficult. How many of you can read proper books for 1 hour continuously without getting any sleep or anything? Anybody here? Any Mahajan who can tell they read 1 hour continuously without getting sleep or getting boredom, just focused and reading for 1 hour? Half an hour?
Bro, कभी कभी जब बहुत अच्छा महाराज या किसी का लेक्चर सुन ले या किसी ने सीनियर ने डोज दे दिया बहुत अच्छा बुक रीडिंग के ऊपर और टाइम हो तो उस वक्त ही अच्छे से बुक रीडिंग हो पाता है एकदम
Yeah.
कंटिन्यूस वे में.
So,
तो कभी तब तो 2-2 घंटा हो जाता है, बट फिर बाद में नेक्स्ट डे सब विल.
when we're very inspired sometimes. It should happen sometimes, but regular basis is very difficult. Yeah. Kashupra is recent for half an hour. Yes. And I think some people have written on chat. So Aman was writing, sometimes you may think that, oh, let me do things in my own way, I'm perfect. Yes, correct. But what things? Things we generally tend to neglect. They're very simple things which we tend to neglect as an austerity. I'll give you an example. Following fasting on special days and Ekadasi. So sometimes, some of us may think that मैं इतना साल से फास्टिंग कर रहा हूँ, अभी क्या होता है रामनवमी के दिन पानी पी लेता हूँ या कुछ खा लेता हूँ, मेरा हेल्थ ठीक नहीं है. So sometimes now this may not be your problem with all of you, but as we grow more senior ना, so mind and thing अभी चलता है. So I see sometimes very senior duties, although okay they may have health reason, but it can be done. But still mind tells नहीं अभी तुमको खाना चाहिए, डॉक्टर तुमको बोला है तुमको एसिडिटी हो जाएगा. So we tend to neglect that. Or sometimes even Ekadasi, some of people may tend to neglect to chant 25 rounds on Ekadasi. That also sometimes we may not do. Sometimes we may neglect that thing. Then one more very easily neglected austerity is paying obeisances. Paying obeisances to seniors, even to Srila Prabhupada, and sometimes even to deities. Sometimes even like now, earlier we had only one altar in Madan Mohanji and कौन था एक बार में जाता था, अभी 3 altar हो गए. So I'm seeing my mind only. मुझे लगता है गौनिताय का हो गया और राधा कृष्ण जब होता है ना तो वही मैं राम जी का मंत्र पढ़ देता हूँ, भगवान यही स्वीकार कर लो. तो माइंड बोलता है उधर माता जी जो खड़ी है तो वैलिड रीजन है मेरे पास नहीं जाने के लिए, और हम दूर से कर सकते हैं प्रणाम. माइंड बोल रहा है, ये सब माइंड बोलता है. तो we tend to forget that to pay obeisances. So and sometimes when we come to temple or see senior devotees, then अभी हाँ अभी तो जो बहुत प्रणाम कर लिया है, बहुत बार हो गया है. तो ये एक ऑस्टेरिटी है, अरे झुकना प्रणाम करना तो जनरली वी नेग्लेक्ट इट. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट नेग्लेक्ट.
महाप्रसाद गोविंद पढ़ना.
हाँ, प्रेयर्स पढ़ना,
प्रसाद से पहले प्रेयर्स पढ़ना,
प्रसादम प्रेयर्स पढ़ना, ये तो बहुत लोग नेग्लेक्ट करते हैं. ये आजकल लोग 3 बार महामंत्र बोलकर हरे कृष्णा मुंह आधा हाथ में आ चुका है प्रसाद, मुंह में जाने वाला उसमें महामंत्र चल रहा है और हरि बोल, और या समटाइम्स जय महाप्रसाद की जय हरि बोल खा लेते. सो प्रेयर पूरा बैठ के प्रॉपर पढ़ना. मैनी डिवोटीज दे नेग्लेक्ट दिस थिंग, मैनी डिवोटीज, क्योंकि वो इतना प्रसाद देखते ही वो ऐसा बस अब जल्दी से घुस जाएगी अंदर हमारे. सो वी टेंड टू नेग्लेक्ट. एंड देन More austerity is like wearing dhoti kurta and fresh clothes. So sometimes like in voices or bass we stay. So हम लोग आते तो छोड़ो, अभी कौन चेंज करेगा, अभी कौन देख रहा है मेरे को, चलो ऐसी पैंट शर्ट में रह लेते हैं या हाफ पैंट में रह लेते हैं, बरमुडा में रह लेते हैं, एंड इवन वेयरिंग समटाइम फ्रेश क्लोथ, ये भी एक बहुत बड़ा ऑस्ट्रेलिया है। या कपड़ा धोना, ये भी एक ऑस्ट्रेलिया है समटाइम, वैसे ही पानी में डाल के सुखा देते हैं, पूरा सड़ा
प्रभु
हुआ
जी,
होगा।
वो 12 तिलक लगाना सबसे बड़ा।
हाँ
बहुत से लोग खाली सिर्फ 12 तिलक की जगह पे एक ही तिलक लगाते हैं और गले
हाँ,
पे लगा लेते हैं।
समटाइम्स ये समटाइम्स जो है एक ही तिलक अपना फोरहेड पे लगा करके, और या कुछ लोग मैंने देखा है दो दो हाथ से चिंपांजी के साथ एक ऐसा लगाया, दिन दिन दिन, देखा मैंने देखा ऐसा लोग
अब
करते हुए,
मंत्र नहीं पढ़ना, तिलक लगाते हैं, मंत्र नहीं पढ़ना,
तिलक लगा के मंत्र नहीं पढ़ना। तो
ईयरिंग
ये,
जाने का नहाना नहीं,
हाँ ये तो,
नाखून काटने के बाद नहाना नहीं।
हाँ नाखून कटना है, शेविंग करना, इवन शेविंग करना भी, शेविंग करना, बाल कटाना भी, हम लोग डिवोटीज वो लोग प्रॉपरली टाइम पे अपना हेयर ट्रिम नहीं करते हैं, एकदम बाल जब तक 10 डिग्री टोक न ले उसको, प्रभु जी बहुत बाल बड़ी आपके यार, जंगली से दिखने लग जाए तब तक हम लोग काटते नहीं है बाल को। और छठी है ना, भी जाओ वहाँ नाई के पास कटवा के लाओ, फिर उसको नहाओ धो, पूरा कपड़ा चेंज करो, इज एन ऑस्टेरिटी, ये भी एक तपस्या है। सो दीज आर, एंड वॉशिंग बीड बैग्स, अपने बीड बैग को नहीं धोना, तो एकदम
नेवर डन। नया खरीद लो प्रभु जी,
हम सबके पास 10-10 बीड बैग कम से कम होगा, मेरे पास 10 बीड
नया
बैग।
खरीद लेने का।
So, so you see, these are some of the things which we have learned in our earlier Krishna conscious life, but as time passes, we just neglect it. We like it चलता है अभी, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? So these all things then tend to relapse of our old bad habits. So, and also now dealing with women. So sometimes what happens, because the next topic is coming, is that only in terms of mind, that as one advances in Krishna consciousness, in the sense that number of years, one may start thinking that it's okay if I deal with women and Matajis, I will not agitate or I will not feel much anything. It may come to our mind that अभी तो चलता है, हम इतने माताजी से बात कर रहे हैं, सब कर रहे हैं. But then here comes a very powerful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, which warns us of the pitfall or the danger of associating with women without proper protecting, like association of devotees. Yeah, read, somebody else read this. Lord Rishabdev personally showed this in Srimad Bhagavatam. Somebody? Okay, the one who's sharing. Okay, wait. I will stop sharing. Yeah, the one who's sharing this. 5, 6. I think 3.
563।
Yes, 5, 6. 3. हाँ. Yeah. Read. Yes. I want to you read in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is said.
Yes, Prabhuji. From here, na Prabhuji, although the living entities.
No. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, last line. Yes. Before verse. That verse. Matra swastra.
Okay, here, Prabhuji, Lord Rishabdev person. Okay.
See, yes, Bhagavatam.
Matra sparsha tu hitrava naivi vokashano bhavet balavan indriya gramo vidvam samapi karshati.
Yeah.
A grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi and brahmachari should be very careful while associating with women. One is forbidden to sit down in a solitary place even with one's mother, sister or daughter. In our Krishna consciousness movement, it has been very difficult to disassociate ourselves from women in our society, especially in Western countries. We are therefore sometimes criticized, but nonetheless, we are trying to give everyone a chance to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and thus advance spiritually. If we stick to the principle of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra offenselessly, then by the grace of Srila Haridas Thakur, we may be saved from the allurement of woman. However, If we are not very strict in chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we may at any time fall victim to women.
Yeah. So this is an injunction. Of course, um, it may not seem very practical that how can you say that don't sit with your sister and mother and this, but here it is said just to warn us that what kind of dangerous situation mind can put us if we are not careful. So then Prabhupada is writing mainly that uh, in our Krishna consciousness movement we are associating with many women, like sometimes with programs and this that, and we are in the course of preaching also. But he told we may be safe by the grace of Haridas Thakur if we chant offenselessly. Now this is one of the greatest neglect many devotees in our movement and even in general these people are doing. Many devotees I am seeing and I'm observing, even myself also, and I am seeing many devotees, those who have, they might have spent 10-20 years also in Krishna consciousness, but they are neglectful towards their japa, especially in the morning japa. So this is the most neglected part of sadhana for a devotee. Why? Because this particular sadhana of japa is kind of invisible. Nobody comes to know how serious you are chanting, and how, at least just from external point of view, we can see that at least you are chanting, you are sitting and chanting. But sometimes even devotees tend to neglect this very important aspect of our sadhana. And Prabhupada wrote very correctly, 99% of our devotional advancement depends on our chanting of holy names of Krishna. So if one neglect this very important aspect of bhakti, just time is separating, he may fall victim to Maya very badly. And as time advances, we all become very preoccupied with our lots of activities, maybe preaching and maybe doing some management, whatever. And this particular activity of japa, 16 good rounds, becomes neglected. So, and that's why we don't receive the strength to push forward and move forward. So externally, we may become a very maybe very great influencer, or maybe very uh, powerful preacher or manager, or very charismatic person externally, maybe. But internally, because of impurity in the heart, there is a chance that we may just fall back of standards. So it had happened to many devotees in the past, and it is happening, it will happen. So so this is one area where we all have to work hard, because this austerity of chanting japa sincerely, it really takes lot of energy and lot of consciousness, and lots of commitment and dedication and sincerity. Because even in ISKCON scenario, I must tell frankly, nobody asks you, after you spend 5-10 years in bhakti, even nobody asks 16 mala ho gaya kya, कहाँ पूछते हैं आजकल? Nobody asks. And even sometimes those of you who have spent 3-4-5 years in Krishna consciousness, who ask you 16 mala ho gaya kya? So sometimes even some devotees may do not chant 16 rounds, and he may just go unnoticed, or he may be chanting very pathetic rounds, but nobody cares.
रोज कोई पूछ लेता तो गुस्सा और आता है कि मुझे पूछा कैसे, मेरे को इतने साल हो गए, तुझे कैसे पूछ सकते हो, 16 हो ही नहीं।
And how dare he has asked? He doesn't know that how advanced devotee I am. How much I'm initiated devotee. How can I not chant 16 rounds? So then there's a big danger in this thing. See, Mangalarti, we are seen. So people see, हाँ ये खड़ा है अभी, बट वो क्या सोच रहा है किसी को पता नहीं है अभी. ठीक है, मंगलारती में आगे कैसे भी आ गए, गुरु पूजा में आगे, भागवत में बैठे हुए हैं, सो रहे कुछ पर, बट जपा में तो कोई दिखता ही नहीं है. सब कोई अपना 2-4 माला करके अपने खुफिया में चल जाते हैं. Some people they go to their room, some people go here and there, some people is walking in garden and this. But just think about what kind of japa we are doing. We are not serious enough in our japa. That's why Prabhupada writes very nicely in this purport that if one is not careful in chanting japa, then he may fall victim to the allurement of women. Because this is the greatest stumbling block for all of us. And Prabhupada writes, even a grahastha vanaprastha, it is not that only one for brahmacharis. That's grahastha vanaprastha sannyasi, whosoever it may be. Even if a grahastha fall victim to the allurement of his wife, then he may lose Krishna consciousness. He will lose his seriousness and gravity in Krishna consciousness. So, and the strength to sustain our energy and enthusiasm comes from good japa, and that too morning japa. So anybody who is doing very nice morning japa, he will be always fired up and enthusiastic in Krishna consciousness. That's the secret of remaining enthusiastic in bhakti. That's the secret. And that will not happen unless you come and associate with those devotees who are sincerely chanting in morning. And they are very few. Even in temple, there are very few devotees who really sit and chant sincerely. Very few devotees. So even some years back, even I was not able to chant even more than 7 to 8 rounds in the morning. And it went for many months. And I struggled a lot. But then I gradually made my mind, because we were in the preaching zone and this zone, we were thinking that it's okay, I'm giving classes, I'm studying for classes, these things. So this was getting neglected. But then I realized at one point in time that this is the big mistake I'm doing. So now I'm trying my best, at least morning 13, 14 rounds should happen. So, and you see great preachers like Radhesham Prabhu and all, how sincere they are in their japa. Some of our devotees have seen in Spurti camp also. You sit with the chant there, continuous 2 hours. And sometimes you may compromise our japa, that he can traveling mein kar lunga, ye kar lunga. If somebody has a job, that's okay. But at least 8 to 10 rounds should be done, good rounds. At least 8 rounds minimum to be done in the morning, sitting at one place without distraction and just focusing on the holy name and Krishna, at least 8 rounds. Because in the Yoga Sutras, it is said that for a sadhaka to meditate more than 1 hour continuously, it's difficult. It is mentioned there that you can focus for 1 hour. After that, your mind becomes tired. And that's why you see after you chant 8 rounds, generally we feel tired a little bit. होता नहीं है फिर struggle करना पड़ता है थोड़ा सा. But first 8 rounds can be very nicely done. Even if you do it 8 rounds, I have seen. First is 4 rounds, then 8 rounds. पहले 4 वाला पे try करो. 4 very good rounds. 4 very good rounds first you do. And then after some days, you can even come to 8 good rounds. Like this, gradually we should grow. And this should become our habit. This should become our priority. Not that anything else came. So no, we should not give any other thing priority. This is the first priority. Because this is the only vow which we have taken 2 hours in front of our spiritual master or those who will get initiation. First is chanting 16 rounds and second is 4 everyday principles. So these 2 vows which we have taken in front of spiritual master should be followed with utmost sincerity as much as possible. So then by the strength of Guru Parampara, we will be saved from the allurement of women specifically. Here it is written. So don't, think that we are immune to these things. No. Even though we may have practiced for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, doesn't matter. When a person of caliber of Sauri Muni, after doing such advanced austerities, can fall down by seeing 2 fish, just imagine, who are we? Every day we are seeing so many dirty things, sometimes in pop-up videos, sometimes in billboards, or even outside. So how much more careful and sincere we have to be to protect ourselves from this pitfall of fall down. Okay. So let's read our next verse, 5.6.4. A very nice example Sukhdev Swami is giving. Time is running away, but anyhow we can continue. So let us read this verse. Nityam dadati kamasya
ददाति कामस्य
chidram tam anuye raya
शीघ्रं तदं
yogina krita maitrasya
योगिना कृतमैत्रस्य
patyurjayeva pumschali.
Patyurjayeva Pumsare.
So here Sukdev Swami gives an analogy and compares mind to see what is he comparing to. Yeah, read somebody translation. Anybody from Jabalpur? Ram Prabhu, you read.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Ah.
An unchaste woman is very easily carried away by parampras. It sometimes happens that her husband is violently killed by her parampras. If the yogi gives his mind in a chance and does not restrain it, his mind will give facility to enemies like lust, anger, and greed, and they will doubtlessly kill the yogi.
So see, three things he's comparing here. So he's comparing mind to an unchaste wife. Pumshali. Pumshali means unchaste wife who is not chaste to her husband, and yogi is the husband, and this lust, anger, greed, all they are like paramours. Paramour मतलब वो किसी और से प्रेम करती है वो. तो mind, so if you compare this, our mind is by default, by nature attracted to these things, lust, anger, greed and all, by default. And this lust, anger, they are like pulling, mind को खींच रहा है, attract कर रहा है. जैसे पैरामोर उसको बुलाता है वाइफ को कि चलो अभी तुम्हारा हस्बैंड जो है वो नहीं है, घर पे आ जाओ. So if husband is not careful, if yogi is not careful, mind will be taken away by these paramours. So mind will be taken away by lust, anger, greed. So if you are not carefully watching our mind, it will just be dragged away by this lust, anger and greed. And I'll tell you a live example of this. I have seen one husband came to me and he told, Prabhuji, I am so frustrated in my life. He told, why? He told, I have doubt on my wife that when I go to office, she calls somebody else. So then I told, so then you keep some camera or something. So he told, no, I have tried everything, but my life has become very pathetic now. I can't work in the office properly. And when I come home, I can't like now deal with her very nicely. He practically told me, and this is some 8-9 years back when I initially came to Mumbai. I was bewildered by hearing this from this man. चलो बाप रे बाप अभी क्या क्या डील करना पड़ेगा हमको ये चीजें. No, these kind of things are coming in Mumbai. So I remember this when I read this verse. This is like mind is like that. You give mind chance, these paramours or they will drag away your mind from you. So that's why a progressive sadhaka must be very, very alert and attentive to what my mind is thinking. What my mind, of course, it's very difficult now because we are all full of dirty impressions from our past life and even this life. But we have to be observant, and mind has these tendencies, and we have to accept this fact that my mind is very impure, it is not pure. We have to accept this fact. Okay. So quickly read the purport. Somebody? Yes. Ram, to want to continue? You can continue.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hmm.
In this verse, in the word Pumshali refers to a woman who is easily carried away by a man. Such a woman is never to be trusted. Unfortunately, in the present age, women are never controlled. According to the direction of the Shastras, women are never to be given freedom. When a child, a woman must be strictly controlled by her father. When she is young, she must be strictly controlled by her husband. And when she is old, she must be controlled by her elderly sons. If she is given independence and allowed to uh, mingle in unstrictly with the woman, she will be spoiled. And a spoiled woman being manipulated by a parampers might even kill her husband. This example is given her because a yogi desiring to get free from material conditions must always keep his mind under control. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that in the morning our first business should be to beat the mind with soos and hundreds times, and before going to bed to beat the mind in hundred times with a broomstick. In this way, one's mind can be kept under control. An uncontrolled mind and an unchaste wife are the same. An unchaste wife can kill her husband at any time, and an uncontrolled mind, followed by lust, anger, greed, madness, envy, and illusion, can certainly kill the yogi. When the yogi is controlled by the mind, he falls down into the material conditions, and one should be very careful of the mind, just as the husband should be careful of an unchaste wife.
Yeah. So recently there was a case where a wife and her paramour, her boyfriend, they killed one husband. And you know how did they kill? So they made this cement का घोल बना करके उसके बॉडी पार्ट्स को काट काट करके उसमें सीमेंट में डाल दिए और वो जम गया,
वो ड्रम में डाल दिया था।
ड्रम में डाल दिया था। और उनकी बेटी ने शायद बताया कि पिताजी ये ड्रम के अंदर है।
मेरठ में,
हाँ,
मेरठ मेरठ दिल्ली।
I heard like that. So just see. So paramour and wife together can kill the mind. So same way, this lust, anger, greed, and our mind can kill the yogi. So that yogi means we are all yogis, trying to be yogi. So sadhakas, they will kill us. They will kill our bhakti, and they will. Then one may lose interest completely in Krishna consciousness because of this thing. And this happens because of lack of sincerity and alertness in mind. So if we just give our mind a chance to, mingle freely with anybody, doing any frivolous thing, not caring for our sadhana, and not becoming serious in our studies and other things, so you are inviting a big trouble in your spiritual life. That's why it is written, Bhakti Thakur told, 100 times in the morning with what? With shoes, and 100 times in the night with broomstick. We have to ask, what does that mean? Shoes and broomstick.
About morning program and evening.
Acha. Morning program is beating with shoes, and evening program is broomstick. Okay, Siddharth is telling this thing. Okay.
I heard.
Yeah. So beating with shoes in the sense, and I mean, we have to make our mind that, Arey, you are such a fool, you are humble it down, not thinking oneself very great. Maya dekh lenge tere ko kya. Okay. Don't challenge Maya, unnecessarily. Create lots of trouble. Don't do that. Like recently I saw one short clip. So one person was shooting one rhinoceros or something, some hippopotamus, somebody, very closely. तो ये अपना शांति से बैठ के वहां पर कुछ चल रहा है, खा रहा है, कुछ कर रहा है, तो ये उसको और क्लोज जाया जा रहा है। और जब ये ज्यादा ही क्लोज हो गया, वो ऐसा दौड़ाया इसको कि पूरा इसका जान पे आ गई, तो कोई गड्ढे में कूद के बचाई कैसे तो समटाइम्स वी गो टू क्लोज टू माया एंड वी थिंक कुछ नहीं होगा, मैं देखता हूँ माया कैसी है। और जब वो अपना दिखा देगी एकदम भूतिया वाला रूप ना, भागेंगे डर के हम लोग। So let us be careful. And every day we have to beat this mind. Every day, this is the austerity we have to do, morning and evening both the time. Because mind is like that. This is our karma. This mind we have got because of our own karma. So there is nobody to be blamed. We only have to be blamed at what we have done. So now let's read the next sloka, final sloka for this section. I wanted to discuss something. One more sloka, but let us first complete this one. Text 5. Kama manyurmado lobha soka moha bhayadaya
शोकमोह भयादयः
karma bandhascha yanmula
कर्मबन्धश्च यन्मूला
vikuryat konu tadbuddha.
कुर्यात् को न तद्बुधा।
Yeah. Scroll down. Yeah, read somebody.
The mind is the
The
root cause of lust,
Yeah, continue.
anger,
Ashwin. Yeah.
pride, greed, lamentation, illusion, and fear. Combined, these constitute bondage to fruitive activity. What learned man would put faith in the mind.
Purport?
The mind is the original cause of material bondage. It is followed by many enemies, such as anger, pride, greed, lamentation, illusion, and fear. The best way to control the mind is to engage it always in Krishna consciousness. Savai Mana Krishna Padarvinde. Sin- Since the follower of the mind brings about material bondage, we should be very careful not to trust the mind.
Yeah. Don't trust your mind. So, whom to trust? We have to trust Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. So, that is the way in which we can do. Now, I will show you one verse which Krishna tells to Uddhava, a very beautiful analogy. I need to explain that analogy so that you can understand how to dissolve this influence of mind and body. I just today only I read it. This is a verse from 11th canto. I didn't write this. Wait, I'll just tell you. 11, 14, and I'll just find it for you. Just wait. In your bamboo forest. There's a nice section. 11, 11, 13, 7. 11, 1, 3, 7. Just share this. Will be the translation. Very nice analogy. 11.13.7. 11, Canto 11, chapter 13, verse number 7. He gives a very beautiful analogy how to destroy this influence of subtle and gross body. Powerful. And he gives to Uddhava this example. Yeah. So we will just read translation. It's a translation. Yes. Who will read this translation quickly and nicely?
I'll read, Prabhu.
Yeah, read. Okay,
In
please.
in a bamboo forest, the wind sometimes rub the bamboo stalks together, and such friction generates a blazing fire that consumes the very source of its birth, the bamboo forest. Thus, the fire is automatically calmed by its own action. Similarly, by the competition and interaction of the material modes of nature, the subtle and gross material bodies are generated. If one uses his mind and body to cultivate knowledge, then such enlightenment destroys the influence of the modes of nature that generated one's body. Thus, like the fire, the body and mind are pacified by their own actions in destroying the source of their birth.
Yeah. Now try to understand this example. So maybe little complicated. So you have seen the forest fire how it takes samsar down loka. So when two bamboo sticks they come together, they rub against each other. There is a friction. Let it be. Let it. First let it be. So they rub against each other, and then there is fire. So when there is fire, so this fire slowly starts consuming this bamboo. So bamboo were the sources of fire, and fire consumes bamboo. So when all the bamboo is burnt, fire also extinguishes. So that means the source of fire was bamboo, and this fire consumes its source only. In the same way, Krishna tells, by the competition and interaction of metal modes of nature, तीन गुण के आपस में आने से और इनके मिश्रण से हमारा सटल और ग्रॉस बॉडी बनता है. Our body, the subtle and gross body, it is generated because you know that these five matter, these five elements, earth, water, fire, ether, they come from the mode of passion. mind comes from the mode of goodness, and other elements, some come from mode of ignorance also. So this creation में ऐसा बताया जाता है. So then he tells that, so this mode, this mind and body, this is created by their interaction. So when we use this mind and body, which is like fire, to cultivate knowledge, and when we are in knowledge, we surpass the modes of nature. So mind and body, it has come from the interaction of modes, but through knowledge, when we surpass the modes, then this gross and subtle body is destroyed. So when we become gunatit, or when we cultivate knowledge, and by this fire of knowledge, we destroy the modes of nature that generate body. And that's what Krishna tells. Mam jayo vicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatyetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Some gunati. So how to do that? We have to use the same mind and body to cultivate knowledge. And when we cultivate spiritual knowledge, transcendental knowledge, so our subtle and gross body is pacified by their own actions. So what is this action? This action is bhakti. So when we do, by cultivating knowledge, when we are enlightened, so you will see that, you can see pattern in your life. When we hear some, like Sanat was telling that, when we hear some very nice lecture by some great soul, or when we hear a very enlivening kirtan, or when you read something very powerful, at that time this last stanza doesn't trouble you. We feel we're very elevated in consciousness. At that time there is no cause of trouble. So that's why this transcendental knowledge, nahi jnanam sadrisam ivam, Krishna tells in Bhagavad also, there is nothing more pleasing and more you can say satisfying than transcendental knowledge. Fourth chapter he tells, nahi jnanam sadrisam, there is nothing more greater. And then he also tells that when one achieves this knowledge, yam labdhva cha param labham manyate nadikam tatam. So he tells that when one achieves this transcendental knowledge, he can surpass any amount of misery. Guruna pe vichar lete. Even though very great trouble may come in his life, he will only be bewildered, because he is on the platform of knowledge, transcendental knowledge. Now this knowledge is not that jnani type knowledge, that monism. It is not that. This is transcendental knowledge. And Prabhupada tells knowledge means to know spirit and matter and control over both. He tells what is knowledge. So you know that body, you know spirit, soul, and you know the control of both. That is super soul or Krishna, super soul of Godhead. So through this cultivation of knowledge, we can conquer this mind. Now how to do that? Keep regularly hearing great souls. Keep reading Shastras. One good way of doing this is to be in constant touch with Shastras. That's why all of us right now, we are practicing brahmachari life, and even throughout our life, if you really want to be protected by your mind, keep reading Shastras. Not just for the sake of, just quota or just padna hai. Now gradually we have to elevate to a stage where we fall in love with Shastras. That's why it is said that for a brahmachari, he should marry Shastra. Srimad Bhagavatam, he should marry. Not just for the sake of, okay, abhi padhna hai, kya kare abhi hum log class dena. No. You keep reading, and it's like from last 3-4 days, almost a week, I'm trying to read this 11th canto. And although sometimes it is technical and but what I'm doing is that I'm struggling. Suppose I'm reading, I read 5-10 minutes, both heavy ho gaya, ekdam neend aaya. Then I will sleep for 10 minutes, no problem. But then again I will get up and again I will read. So I will not stop. I will keep reading. So don't stop. 10 minutes, then take a nap, then again read. You're feeling boring, keep it, do something else. Do some walk around or take some water, then again come and read. What happens by this? See, what I figured out by doing this thing, because there is a competition of modes, so that तमोगुण और रजोगुण हमारे अंदर छाया रहता है, तो वो हमको अलाउ नहीं करता पढ़ने के लिए. That tamogun rajogun doesn't allow us to read constantly and come to. But there are some point of time during this course, it may take 2-3 hours for you sometime. One time you will get mode of goodness, and if you catch up there also, then you continuously read for 10, half an hour, 45 minutes. Have you observed this happening? पढ़ते पढ़ते एक पॉइंट आता है जहां पर आपका ग्लू कर जाता है, अरे आपको क्लिक कर रहा है, गजब बोल रहा है. Then you keep reading 5-10 verses continuously.
कभी कभी तो ऐसा होता है टाइम एक्सटेंड हो जाता है, लाइक सोचते हैं आधा घंटा पढ़ेंगे, बट वो जब इंटरेस्ट आता है उसके अंदर तो थोड़ा और ज्यादा एक्सटेंड हो जाता है.
So that is the point where we are absorbing shastric knowledge in our system. And if you keep doing this, so initially for some months, it may take some time for you, or it may take long hours for you. So 2-3 hours you will work hard, you may hardly be able to read 1 hour or something like that, but then eventually it will become a habit. And then as you keep on situating yourself in mode of goodness, you will see that time will come, then you will be able to grasp this shastric knowledge. And when you are in touch with shastras, then only with the transcendental knowledge we can gradually overcome these are lower natures, and then mind can come under control. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult, because if you want to rise above tamogun, rajogun, and sattogun, we have to associate with something which is beyond sattogun. And beyond sattogun is holy name, but we are not able to access that so easily. And even so, that's why the shastras are also beyond sattogun, because it is spoken by Krishna. It is spoken by Supreme Son of Godhead himself. So that's why to be in constant touch, because even sadhu, how much association do we get? Personal association, very difficult. So that's why the best way is to, and somehow or other we are intellectuals, so our intelligence wants some satisfaction. Best way is to just keep reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya, and these things, and then this I think will help us eventually to overcome our lower natures and control the mind. So that's it. Its time is up already, and so this was I was thinking to speak on this nature of mind. And so I'm thinking every Tuesday we'll take some of these verses from Bhagavatam, where 2-3 verses spoken about particular topic. Like there is one section where Urvasi speaks about nature of woman. There also we can take some verses where it speaks just about humility. Some verses it speaks just about glories of holy name. Some verses like this. I'm thinking to take every Tuesday one topic, so we can deeply meditate on it. So now until next Tuesday, you read these verses, meditate on it deeply, and think and plan something. What can I do to help control my mind and our mind and grow in life? Fine, I'll stop here. Any questions or any comment? 5 minutes you can take. Anybody has to add anything or anything, you are welcome.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Ankush Guru.
Prabhuji, there was a point that we have to hit our mind with shoes and broomstick every morning and evening. So, Prabhuji, can you please again put light on it with more clarity?
Yeah. So literally also you can do it. If nobody is watching you, you can take one shoe and keep beating you. Why did I came to this material world? 100 times. But don't do it in front of parents or anybody else. They will put you in, Pagal Khana, mental hospital. So beating the mind means reminding ourselves that, oh mind, you are rascal number one, you are fool number one. I'm not going to trust you. You keep crying, but I will not trust you. You keep telling me that ये खाओ, वो खाओ, ये करो, चलो movie देखो, ये करो, but I'm not going to trust you. So this is like beating the mind. So restricting mind from sense gratification. This is one thing. And second thing is that over flooding mind with positive things. The mind is telling, don't read, don't chant, don't go to temple, don't take darshan, don't bring so much spiritual stuff in front of me. But then you have to know, लो करना पड़ेगा. जैसे माँ बाप अपने बच्चे को बोलते हैं ना, नहीं पढ़ना पड़ेगा, करना पड़ेगा तुमको. तो वैसे ही माइंड को फोर्सफुली करना पड़ेगा. सुबह माइंड बोला मत उठो, और सोते हैं, 16 माला कौन करेगा, मंगल आरती कौन जाएगा, सब माइंड बोलेगा, बट नहीं करना है, करना पड़ेगा. This is like beating. Beating means going against his desire, and this is austerity. So Krishna tells us there is austerity of mind, samatvam. He tells that simplicity, gravity, and satisfaction. These are the austerities of mind. Mind is hankering for all the things, hankering for money, hankering for women, hankering for prestige, name, fame. But you have to keep the mind quiet. No, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. So this is how beating the mind. And then it will get trained over a period of time. Then it will stop shouting. शांत बैठेगा थोड़ा सालों बाद के लिए.
जी प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रभु जी. हरे कृष्णा प्रभु.
Hare Krishna. All right. So was it relevant? This section, was it helpful for all of you?
Yes प्रभु जी.
Okay. So we will come again next Tuesday with something else. Sana Prabhu, you want to say something else or here?
नहीं ब्रो, आई एम रियली हैप्पी प्रभु जी. ऐसे टॉपिक्स जो है माइंड को लेके, ऑलरेडी माइंड थोड़ा यहाँ वहाँ ही घूम रहा था, तो माइंड को लेके टॉपिक हुआ तो जो है बहुत अच्छा लगा सेशन सुन के. और मैं चाहता हूँ कि मतलब क्या है, ऐसे क्लोज ग्रुप में जो हमारे ग्रुप है उसके अंदर डिस्कशन हो तो और अच्छा लगता है. और भागवतम से यूजुअली क्या होता है ना, डिस्टेंट फील होने लग जाता है प्रभु जी. मतलब यूजुअली का हम प्रीचिंग करते तो ज्यादा भगवद गीता यूज करते हैं, ठीक है. तो भगवद गीता के पॉइंट्स और जो बेसिक पॉइंट्स है वो तो हम बहुत बोल लेते हैं, बट ऐसे जो डीप पॉइंट्स है ना, ये हमको बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है रियलाइज कराने के लिए कि हमें भक्ति में कितना आगे बढ़ना है. तो जब ऐसे पॉइंट सुनते हैं भागवतम के ना, जो ऐसे श्लोकास मिलते हैं, तो मैंने सारे नोट डाउन कर लिए कि फिर से इनको रिवाइज करने के लिए सबके लिए. तो ऐसे पॉइंट्स और ऐसे एग्जांपल, क्यों भगवत गीता के वो सारे पॉइंट्स सुन सुन के वो सब अब वो ऐसे दिमाग में हो गया ना, मतलब कि ठीक है तो पता ही है ना. बट भागवतम के ऐसे ऐसे श्लोकास और ऐसे पॉइंट्स जो डीप एनालॉजीज रहते हैं वो सुन के बहुत अच्छा लगा प्रभु. मतलब बहुत ज्यादा रियलाइजेशन मिला.
Yeah, fine. We have to go very deep now. We are all practicing now on a surface level. When we go deep and deeper and deeper, we realize that there is still a lot more to work upon. Yes, Sri Krishna proves, I think, raising hand.
Hare Krishna Prabhu ji, Dandvat Pranam.
Hello.
Dandvat Pranam to all devotees here. प्रभु जी, ये बहुत अच्छा डिस्कशन था. ऑल्दो माइंड के ऊपर ही था, तो माइंड के ऊपर ही थोड़ा बहुत मैंने कुछ कहते जो पीछे से प्रैक्टिस करता आ रहा हूँ, उसमें मैंने कुछ अपने अंदर भी चीज़ें देखी, वो मैं बस रिफ्लेक्ट करना चाहता हूँ कि कहीं हम उस पाथ पे ना चले जाएं, क्योंकि वो कहीं ना कहीं एक हैंकरिंग पॉइंट था मेरे लिए, जो मैंने बहुत लेट जाके एनालाइज किया. If it is comfortable Prabhu ji to you, क्योंकि already
Yeah.
we are running out of
We are
time.
running, sort of anybody who wants to leave the meeting, they are free to do so. There is no force on you. Time is up. But I am there, I can hear you. Yes, that's it.
Okay Prabhu. So मैंने एक चीज प्रभु जी रियलाइज किया कि although in the I think थर्ड और फोर्थ सेशन में हमने एक पॉइंट डिस्कस किया था कि बिफोर वी प्रैक्टिसिंग कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस वी हैव टू बी कॉन्शियस. करेक्ट? मतलब बिफोर कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस आपको पहले कॉन्शियस होना पड़ेगा आपके एक्टिविटी के अगेंस्ट में. सो माई पॉइंट हेयर कि मैं अभी ना वही उसी जोन में अटक गया जाके कि नहीं, मैं अपने एक्टिविटी को इतना कॉन्शियसनेसली ऑब्जर्व करने लग गया कि नहीं, ये चीज क्यों मेरे माइंड में आया, ये चीज क्यों मेरे माइंड में आया, ये चीज क्यों मेरे माइंड में आया. मतलब मैंने हर एक एक्टिविटी का एक पैटर्न अपने दिमाग में बनाया कॉन्शियसनेसली कि हाँ भाई चलो ये चीज एक्टिविटी मेरे साथ हुई तो मेरे मन में क्या भाव आ रहा है. तो मतलब इससे पहले भी मैं इसी चीज को प्रैक्टिस कर रहा था, 2-3 महीने कंटिन्यूसली करने के बाद एक इमेज क्या बना मेरे दिमाग में, वो ऐसा बना कि मैं हर एक चीज को एक जजमेंटल मोड में अब देखने लग गया। मतलब मीन्स कि क्योंकि मैंने हर एक एक्टिविटी के इमेज को अपने दिमाग के अंदर कॉन्स्टेंटली मॉनिटर किया, तो उसका एक साइड इफेक्ट मेरे दिमाग में क्या हुआ कि मैं उसको हर एक एक्टिविटी को, मतलब नॉट इवन मी, दूसरों के अंदर भी उस एक्टिविटी के जजमेंटल मोड में जाने लग गया। मतलब समझ रहे हैं कि ऑल्दो दिस इज टोटली नेगेटिव पॉइंट, ये तो करना ही नहीं था मेरे को, बट कॉन्स्टेंटली मैंने वो कॉन्शियसनेस की एक्टिविटी को मॉनिटर कर करके ये चीज बैठा ली कि चलो कॉन्शियसनेस होने का मतलब होता है जजमेंटल हो जाना, कि चलो मैं ये नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ। तो फिर क्या हुआ कि अपने अंदर तो जजमेंटल में था ही था, फिर दूसरे के अंदर देखता था तो उसमें भी जो वे ऑफ डीलिंग है वो एज ए जजमेंटल मोड में चला गया। तो कहीं ना, मतलब अगर हम कहते हैं कॉन्शियस, ये माइंड के ट्रिक्स को देखेंगे तो हमें इस चीज से तो बचना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि मैं इससे गुजरा तो मेरे को लगा कि नहीं यार, ये तो मैंने ब्लेंडर कर दिया, ये मैंने पूरा एकदम ब्लेंडर किया हुआ है, तो इस मूड में ना जाएं हम। ये मेरा कहने का मतलब था
Yeah,
कि
correct. So ये this one thing is that कि when हम जब बात करें खुद के लिए कॉन्शियस होना, तो साथ ही साथ हम कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस का जो प्लेजरेबल पार्ट है उसको भी हम प्रैक्टिस करते हैं। सेल्फ कॉन्शियस होना मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप जो भक्ति के जो पॉजिटिव साइड्स है उसको हम नजरअंदाज कर दें। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल अगर कोई व्यक्ति अपने अनर्थास पर टू मच अगर वो फोकस करने लगेगा, टू मच अगर वो सोचने लगेगा, तो फिर जो है वो उस पर उसके गलत असर पड़ने लग जाएंगे। इसीलिए क्या है कि वी शुड ऑल्सो focus on the positive aspects of Krishna consciousness, where we also feel happy to be Krishna conscious. तो फिर क्या होगा, जब नेगेटिव हमारे अंदर से आती है ना, तो वो नेगेटिव की शैडो हो जाती है फिर, और हमको उस पर काम करने के लिए एक अच्छा फ्रेम ऑफ माइंड मिलता है। अगर कोई आदमी ऑलरेडी डिप्रेस्ड है, वो अपने ऊपर कैसे काम करेगा, क्योंकि वो खुद ही डिप्रेस्ड है। इसलिए क्या है, these both things go together hand in hand, becoming conscious and becoming Krishna conscious. These goes together hand in hand. So this is the way to move. Fine, we can discuss more on this next. Maybe we will stop here. Thank you for your points, Krishna Prabhu. It is understood. And thank you all the devotees. See you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanasana.
हरे कृष्ण।